This is the XMG 15, one of the best computers for DJing, and it's a PC. Stop. Before you get all butthurt about that statement, I need you to understand where I'm coming from. I'm a Mac guy through and through. I've been a diehard Mac guy since the early 2000s, and has it ever let me down? For the most part, no. Well, for the most part. So it would take a hell of a lot to get me to move over from a Mac to a PC. So, has this computer changed me? Well, the XMG is a powerhouse, not just for its specs, but also the idea behind it. It's a DJ computer designed and customized by DJs. Its sole purpose to be a laptop with zero issues, fast processors, and with a plethora of in and out ports. Now, this is where I was most impressed with the XMG. Coming from a Mac and the 2 to 4 USB-C ports that a Mac will give you, this was a breath of fresh air. And it has all of the in and out ports that you will ever need. It has 2 USB 3.2 ports, 1 USB 2, it has Thunderbolt, a USB-C, an HDMI out, an SD card slot. Say it with me, an SD card slot reader, plus an Ethernet port and your ins and outs for your headphones and microphone. On the top, we have a solid keyboard with a shockingly impressive Microsoft Precision trackpad. One other thing, this is a 1080p matte display, and I do actually prefer the matte display over the glossy display that you get on the Macs. Now, of course, you can upgrade your Mac display to a matte, but it comes at a higher cost, and you can't just buy it off the shelf. As far as the screen is concerned, everything looks good. I don't have any dull pixels or brightness issues. It's bright enough, but font smoothing is a thing. And that was the first thing I noticed when I started looking at this display over my Mac. The Mac OS font smoothing is just so much better. Now, I wouldn't be me if I didn't examine some of the weaknesses of this particular computer. And the one issue that I think a lot of people will be disappointed with is the speaker system in here. The speakers are without a doubt the most basic speakers you will ever use. Yes, you can edit your tracks, you can listen to music and set your cue points, but this isn't the computer that you're gonna be sitting around watching a movie on without headphones. Also, another minor gripe is good and bad at the same time, and that is the keyboard. The keyboard is very good. Travel of the keys is excellent. Didn't have an issue typing on it, and I would say that it competes with any other computer out there. The one thing that I love is the actual 10 key pad on the right-hand side. However, putting this 10 key in this chassis, I believe kind of forced some compromises on the rest of the keys, specifically the shift button and the arrows, which for all of us, we know that is your left and right load buttons. The shift and the arrow keys are a little off center, making it hard to kind of find where that shift button is. Specifically because the shift button doesn't actually say shift, it's just an up arrow. So that took a little bit of getting used to, coming from a Mac where the shift was right to your right and your arrows were perfectly centered. That took a minute to get used to. I still, to this day, have a little trouble loading left and right on the keyboard. I hit the wrong key all the time. On the Plus has gotten me to use the actual controls on the hardware more so than I did on this one. And what it seems like all the DJs have tested it, chose the red one, but it also comes in silver. It's an aluminum shell with a plastic bottom, cutting down on the weight and making it a joy to carry around. As far as price is concerned, the base price of these computers are $1,261 Euro, which converts to about $1,500 US. So that's the starting point, but everything is customizable. So you want to upgrade the RAM, you want to upgrade the processor, you want to upgrade the SSD. You have all of those options, but that will, of course, raise the price. The current one that I'm using is the quad-core i7 with the 2 terabyte SSD and the 16 gigs of memory. Something that's non-upgradable is the Intel graphics card, which is an on-chip design. There are no dedicated graphics cards That is one thing that I do wish that they would come out with an upgraded version. There's nothing wrong with this, but there's really nothing to write home about. It's serviceable at best, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I think it's time to talk about performance. And I will tell you this is a beast of a machine. This took everything I threw at it and it kept purring like it was barely even having to flex at all. One of the really impressive features of this is the ability to drop down all the way to 64 samples. Now, if you are coming from the production and you've worked with MIDI, you know that the lower you can drop that sample point down, the faster reaction time you will have from hitting a button and having the action take place. So 64 samples is damn near perfect. But that's not the most impressive part. The most impressive part is when I dropped it down to 64 samples, I didn't see any performance hits on the computer. That's impressive. A lot of times you'll drop that sample down to 64 or 128 and you'll notice that your computer starts acting a little weird, starts slowing down, you start getting random delays. That's because of the over-processing. But I did not see that at all. That is where the optimization comes from. That is where the DJs optimizing for DJs comes into play. They know the tricks to get this thing to run as efficient as possible, still allowing you to use all the things that for a lot of people, they have come to forget about. For instance, in my testing, I used Bluetooth, I used Wi-Fi, beat source, link, title, streaming, all of those things running at the same time, and video mixing. Didn't have any issues. One thing to keep in mind if you are running heavy graphics, the Intel graphics card built inside here does a serviceable job. And I was able to run anything, 1080p, 720p without a hitch. Now, I did have specific issues with specific files, and those were always my Beeple files. So I was running into an issue where I would play it and then it would just freeze. Now, mind you, it didn't take the computer down. The video would just fail to play and I could just load in a new video or load a new song and I didn't have any issue. So I talked to my guy Ray at XMG and he did further testing and he opened it up on Serato video, Rekordbox video, and then Virtual DJ video. The only problem was happening in Serato video. So for whatever reason, there were some specific files that Serato video could not process. No matter how much I tried to kind of shift it and drop down the resolution, it just didn't work well. It worked just fine in the other platforms, which means that as far as the computer is concerned, the computer wasn't the issue. So depending on what you're using, your mileage may vary, but obviously test the videos out before you try to run them in a production environment, just to make sure that you don't have any issues. All in all, this is the first PC that I've ever used that didn't make me want to run over to my Mac, and one that I could actually recommend to anyone looking to upgrade their PC, and for older Mac users wanting to make a switch to PC. If you're in either one of those groups, you owe it to yourself to take a long, hard look at the XMG DJ15. Now, one thing I can hear you guys doing right now, you're all typing and I can hear you typing because one of the biggest questions is, okay, I love what you say about the PC. Where can I buy it? I see European pricing. How can I get it in the States? Now, if you are a regular consumer, you're not going to be able to buy this online or pick it up off the shelf. It's not currently possible. However, if you are a business, and a lot of us DJs, if we're taking it seriously, we have an LLC, we have an S Corp. If you are a business, you can purchase a XMG DJ15 from the business department where Ray will take care of you, customize it to your needs, and then he will be able to ship it to anywhere, specifically in the States. That bit of information is new. Not a lot of people know that. So I'm really happy that I'm able to tell you guys that it's available with certain restrictions. I know a lot of you are asking me the $25 million question. So are you a PC guy now? Are you gonna sell your Mac and just stay exclusively with PC? And the answer is no. I'm a Mac guy because I'm embedded in the Mac ecosystem. I have iPhones and iPads and Apple TVs and AirDrop And all of these little things that make my life easy on a normal, everyday basis, I can't get rid of that. Final Cut is my favorite video editing software. I'm not leaving Final Cut. But what I recognize now, specifically after I got my streaming computer, there is a tool for every job. And that tool doesn't have to be an all-in-one. This is my dedicated DJ computer. I only DJ with it. There's nothing else on this computer but DJ software. And that's how I look at it, a tool for the job. Now, if you're one of those people that likes to have your computer do everything, this isn't the computer for you. But there's a lot of people that I know use dedicated computers for DJing only. And if you're that person, this is something you want to look at. Definitely take a look. Take a look. All right, I think I've gushed over this computer enough. Here's the thing. In the chat over the next couple of days, Ray from XMG is going to be in the chat answering all of your questions. So if you have any questions about this computer, specific to this computer, drop it in the chat below. Ray will do his best to answer. And we're gonna get him on one of our Wake Up in Cleveland shows, probably Tech Thursday, where we will go in depth on the XMG lineup. It's gonna be a good time. All right, guys, if you found what I said here useful, hit that like button. If you found what I said here really useful, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on the Instagrams and the Twitters. Also, get on my Discord because that's where we're talking about all things Cleveland Terry. And make sure you're following me on Twitch for my Wake Up in Cleveland shows because a lot of shows and my DJing and testing is exclusive to Twitch. You won't see that on YouTube. So make sure in the description, you click on that link and you hit that follow button to make sure you're on there with me. All right, guys, girls, always a pleasure. If I don't talk to you later, we'll talk soon. Peace.